Hello everyone, it's Dave Relic, aka Realtor Dave, start of December 2016. I'm going to talk a little bit more about the real estate markets today, and one of the bigger issues that I'm seeing that I don't think is really being discussed enough, and that is how the rental market can be so bad and the resale market be okay. Not saying the resale market is great, just saying it's okay. When we look at November stats for the resale market, we find that looking year over year, we're only down slightly, which, considering the big rush we saw to get into the market in October, is actually a really good thing. In October we were up 70% year over year. Last month we were only down about 3 to 6%, depending on what you're looking at for sales. And I think that's a really good sign. I thought it'd be worse than that. It's against the overall long-term average, we're down about 17% for sales, which is much better than we were earlier in the year when we were down like 35–40%. So overall, the resale market is looking like it's been hit the bottom. It's coming on the way back up. It's still a long way to go, of course, but it looks like the worst is over. However, the rental market is looking terrible these days. CMHC released reports saying vacancies are up over 7%, the worst that's been in 25 years. Hope Street released their own little report. They kind of just did a look on the internet and found that 40% of homes for rent are vacant. The true number is somewhere in between there. I think the discrepancy between those two numbers is how you define what a vacant unit is. But the real important thing to know here is that rental units are as hurting as they've been in about 25 years. And so now, why is this going on? Sort of step one in this whole process. I think there's a couple reasons why it's going on. The first is that potential landlords or potential sellers are leaving the city and decide they don't want to sell for a loss. They're looking, someone's leaving the city and they say, well, what would it cost me to sell my place? And they look what they can sell for, look at realtor fees, look at mortgage break fees, and they go, oh, it cost me $20, $30, $40, $50,000 to sell my place. I'd rather just rent it out. Even if they cost themselves a couple $100 a month, they would much prefer to rent out, pay that couple $100 a month, and not have to cut a big check to sell their place. And I think given, most people generally agree that the market is as bad as it's been, it's not a bad strategy. You can do this for a couple of years, sell at a higher market, and that's a good idea. I think the other thing that's coming on here is that people in Calgary who've been renting for a while and looking at buying their first home have been waiting, and maybe they're waiting for a year or two, and now they're seeing that the market is okay, and saying, well, I've waited for long enough, I just want to get in the market now. Prices have come down a little bit, so they're jumping into the market. The problem is we're not having those renters coming in behind them to rent out those units. Those renters normally come in, there's temporary workers come in for 6 months to a year who are great renters, and then there's new people into the city who are coming in at entry-level jobs who just want to get a feel for the city, so they decide to rent first. They're going to make sure that the city is right for them, the job is right for them, so they're not going to purchase right away, they're going to rent. Those people are not coming to the city, and so we're seeing a big discrepancy in terms of renters coming to the city versus renters moving into the market. And so that kind of explains, I think, a little bit why the resale market is decent, but the rental market is not. I think the other aspect of all this is that, I've been talking about apartments for a long time for resale and saying, apartments are a really big issue. And the rental stock is mostly apartments, whereas the resale market is going to be more dominated by physical single-family homes, houses that are not attached. And you don't really make houses for rent. And so the housing market, as you would know, the single-family home market is okay in the city, and in fact, in many respects, improving. And so that's why I think you see the difference in the resale market versus the rental market. If I break down the resale markets into their individual segments, and especially when we look at apartments, I could say in many respects, apartments are down 10 to 20% year over year. And this isn't really discussed a lot. I think a lot of that reason is that, again, these renters, the potential homeowners are renting instead of selling. If they were to rent, they'd be realizing year over year losses of 15%, but they're not selling, they're renting, and so that number is kept off the books essentially. And so that's kind of the other thing. That makes me feel better about the market. It's like I look at the apartment market and I realize it's down about 15 to 20%. That's what rents are down, and so it makes sense that those prices are coming down, so they're coinciding with each other. I do think that eventually, that you'd have to feel the housing market with rents being so low. People would say, well, I could rent for this apartment for $1,200, or I could buy a house and it cost me twice that every month. Maybe I'll just hold on to my apartment for a little bit longer. And so eventually that would have a drag on the housing market. But I do feel with the recent things we've seen in the oil patch, we are going to start to see more renters coming in. I think we'll see companies hiring, especially short-term workers, and bringing people in a little bit more as they start to get a little more confidence before they start fully hiring, and that will start to take up some of the rental stock. So overall, I do believe that, as I said before, the housing market is going to increase. The apartment resale market is still going to have its troubles, and the rental market will ultimately be the cause of that. You know, landlords, if you're a landlord right now, I think you just gotta hang on and do your best, especially renting a condo. There's not a heck of a lot you can do at this point in time. Work as hard as you can to get your place rented. Drop rent where needed. Don't have a vacant unit for a long period of time. Any questions on this one, guys, as always, you can get me at daveruddick@remax.net or give me a call on my cell phone, 403-990-1278. Thanks very much. Talk to you all soon. Bye.